Hello there, welcome to the next episode of Saturday Morning Cartoons, the game. Today we'll be looking at Thorn, the space elf. She flings arrows, she flings magic. She's pretty fun to play. Now I have to be honest, this character kind of confused me at first because I thought she was a dedicated ranged character because of the way how her bow operates. But after spending a little bit of time with her, she's actually a really powerful close-range assassin that can put out a lot of burst if you combo her abilities correctly and if you pick the right talents. Now, hopefully, I'll be able to show you a little bit into what I'm talking about in the following clips. So let's take a moment to talk about the basics. Her bow and arrow features two ways of firing. She can either choose to fire from the hip, which gets the arrows out faster, but they have a spread, meaning that she can't hit targets from anywhere than a close range distance. Instead, she can choose to hold down her arrows and charge them up. This removes the spread, and it does a little bit more damage, meaning she can hit targets from a great distance away. However, because of the wait time, she's usually better off and can do more damage by firing the arrows quickly. Now, with the help of these bots, I'm going to try to demonstrate just how much range she has. Now then. So as you can see, if you take the time to hold down the shot, your arrow will start to glow like that, and it'll fly pretty straight, as opposed to if you just fire like that. You can see that there's a great deal of spread. So if I fire at that robot over there, none of my shots are connecting. But if I take the time to hold down the shot and then fire, there we go, bullseye. So using your charge shots while you do less damage overall, it's a good way if you want to use long distance combat. Oh, and right-clicking causes you to zoom in. You won't be using this much in PvP, but this can make a really big difference if you're trying to hit a target from far away, or one that's bouncing up and down like that. Now, the way how her curse mechanic works, if she hits a target with a charged shot, she'll actually curse it, and then it'll take more damage from any charged arrow shots or skills. So you can see there, we did 234 with the first shot, and then the next shot we did 294. Now the trick is it does not apply to hip fire shots. It only applies to charge shots and skills. Now you might be thinking, so what's the problem with that? Well, the problem is that her skills are close range. So if you take the time to try and make a charged shot up close, it's actually pretty difficult. I'll show you just to demonstrate. So we got that charge shot, but our quick shots are not doing any extra damage to the uncursed target than they are to the cursed target. But again, if we take the time to charge up the shot and fire 234, then 187, 292. See, so the 292 is the extra curse damage. So, as you can see from this demonstration, she does have long range capacity. However, I feel like she does her greatest damage up close, and she needs her skills in order to do that. So let me show you what she can do. Thorn's first skill is called Volley. She cocks her bow to the side and fires off a slew of arrows in a spread. Now, if she's point blank, each of these arrows will connect, but if she's further away, they don't fire out in a wide enough spread that they won't disperse all over the place. So you can use it either to do a lot of damage up close if every arrow connects, or you can use it as an AoE mechanism against a group of enemies. Each arrow individually does less damage than her normal attack or her charged attack. However, together they can do a significant amount of damage. And depending on the mutations you choose, you can heavily modify this ability to do a bunch of different things. However, the dispersal pattern is large enough that at a long enough range, most of the damage will be lost. So don't use it at a greater distance. Her second ability is called Blight. She puts down a big area of corruption on the field, and anything that stands in it takes damage. This is a fantastic ability on its own without being modified for clearing lanes, and gives her a great deal of presence for pushing lanes forward. However, this can be modified to have a slow at level 1, which increases its capacity tremendously. It can be used in ganks to slow down enemies. It can be used to escape by slowing down enemies that are chasing you. It is a really, really powerful ability that if you take the time to learn how to use it, has many different applications. Now, her ultimate is really basic but pretty powerful. Wrath of the Wild generates a giant spirit bomb that you hurl at the ground, and in a little area around it, anything that gets hit takes a big chunk of damage. And the cool thing is that, like her other skills, if you can curse the enemy, they'll take even more damage. So that means you really need to find ways to combo and weave your curse into your rotation before you throw this off, so you can get that extra bit of damage to really blow the enemy up. Okay, so let's talk about the build, and I'll explain kind of the flow, and then I'll talk more specifics about the combos. But the general idea that we're going with this is we're taking abilities that allow us to chain together our combo curse and do lots of damage at short range and turn her into a burst character. So the first thing that we're going to take at level 1, and it is a mutation, not a talent. This isn't Heroes of the Storm. You're going to take Swamp Foot for the reasons that we discussed before. It adds a whole lot of awesome utility to the Blight ability, and it's integral to this build. It's really, really powerful. Already talked about it. Take that at level 1. For number 2, we're going to take Cursed Earth. Now, what this does is that this changes the rules so that way all your arrows become cursed, even your hipfire ones. Now, what it won't do is it won't curse your enemies if you hit them with a hipfire. But if they're already cursed from, if a curse that you applied from a charged arrow or another skill that we're going to pick up later on, then all your hipfire shots will get that bonus. And that's really, really powerful. Now, saying that, you're never going to do more damage with just the bonus that you're getting to your hip shots from Cursed Earth than you would if you put them on Blight. So you never want to use your Blight just to like throw it down and then start throwing out hip fire. You always want to try to get the Blight to actually stick on your target and get that damage over time on them that way. However, Cursed Earth is a fantastic way to use up extra Blight that you just have laying around after the enemies run out of it or after they've died, whatever. And that's why we take it. Fell Wind doesn't really have that extra damage that we need when we need to kill a target from a distance. So that's why we take Cursed Earth. And we'll be taking things that make Cursed Earth a little better later on. Now, our level 3 mutation doesn't actually make that big of a difference. You'd think Draw Strength would be really, really powerful, but what I found is that other than in a couple very specific choke points on the PvP maps, you'll rarely find opportunities for your arrows to penetrate because the minions just don't really walk in a straight line. They walk more in a group, a loose formation. So, but we don't take Burst Propulsion because I found what this does, your melee attack on its own, when you hit a player with it, it knocks him back a little bit. What this does is it actually knocks you back as well. Now, the problem is that I found that even with this knockback that you inflict on yourself, you don't get enough space to keep yourself safe. Any enemy that's on you that's in melee is going to be able to close the distance unless you can like do something that basically Thorn doesn't really have anything in her arsenal to take advantage of the distance that this creates. She doesn't have any mobility skills. So I really find Burst Propulsion to be kind of useless. So that's why we take Draw Strength. It's not that integral to our build, but it's better than nothing. Now, on the other hand, our level 4 mutation is very important. We want to take Kreshik's Judgment. And what this does is this turns our volley into a combo ability. Now, just like our charged shots, whenever we land any arrow, it just has to be one. Any arrow on the enemy, we actually curse them the same way we do with charged shots. And this is incredible. What this does is this lets us basically quickly run in and hit them with the volley and then throw down our Blight, and then we can hit them with our ultimate and do a lot of damage really quickly. This is a very important ability, and it's really integral to the way that I play her. And I'll talk more about this as we go along. For our number 5, we're going to take Hextension, because what that's going to do is it pairs really well with our level 4 pick. It's going to actually increase the damage, so our skills that are getting the bonus when we throw on the curse are going to do more damage, and the important thing is that the curse is going to last longer, because we don't want to be doing charged shots in close range. So we really want the curse bonus that we get from volley to last as long as possible. But this also increases your ability to fight at long range, because when you're fighting with charged shots, you're relying primarily on that curse passive to give you that extra bonus, and this really helps that out. So that's why we're taking Hextension as our level 5. For our level 6, we're going to take Swift Volley. Now you might be thinking, well, if Blight's so good, why don't we boost that? It's because the damage on Blight by itself is good enough at this level to take out most lane minions, and the damage boost that you see from it is not really enough to make a difference when it comes to mercenaries. Now, Swift Volley, because of our level 4 again, it's a really powerful ability. It's a combo ability now, and we want to have it up as much as possible, use it as much as possible. And I find overall that just being able to use Volley more often is better than a slightly more damaging Blight. So that's why we go with Swift Volley at level 6. Our level 7 mutation? Okay, this is a disclaimer. The correct pick is Eagle Eye, because what this does is this makes sure it reduces the spread from your hip shots significantly, and this will make a huge difference in your effective killing range, and it'll make you much more effective. However, Vaulting Hunter is really, really fun. I love mobility abilities, And what this does is this gives you a heck of a lot of ability. This basically triples your jump height. So what this does, this lets you jump over enemies, jump over allies, get shots off that they were blocking. It lets you use the terrain in a way that you couldn't before to either escape or to get to a more advantageous position. It's really fun just to jump around like a kangaroo, archer, elf, witch lady, and just lay waste to your enemies. I really recommend you try this out. But especially with the level 2 that we took, where we want to be standing in our extra blights, you don't want to be jumping around. So, and just the raw power of Eagle Eye, that's the correct pick, but Vaulting Hunter is also a fine choice. I don't blame you for that if you take it. In fact, I encourage it. For our level 8, we're going to pick Enduring Blight, and then again, that's because of our level 2. So even though Distance Blight, you might be thinking, well, this will let us tag enemies further away and start the combo. The thing is, we can't increase Volley's effective range. It's still limited to short or medium ranges. And so because of that, if we can only do the combo at a farther distance with Distant Blight, it's not that effective. We need the whole thing to hit. And so that's why we're going to pick Enduring Blight. It's going to give us more damage. It's actually really important against the bigger minions. It'll make a big difference, and it lets us control the area with the slow longer, keeping other players that we don't want coming to us by zoning them out with this. And it also, we can take advantage of it with our level 2 Cursed Earth to get in that bonus hip shot curse damage. So that's why we're taking that. For 9, we're going to take Archer's Boon. I didn't mention it before, but Thorn doesn't have any shields. Instead, she just has a big health pool, and she regenerates. So the lifesteal that you get from this is actually really, really powerful. Any kind of healing that you get is fantastic because your health pool, you don't have that shield effect that other players do. So you're kind of vulnerable to... You can survive bursts better than they can because you have a bigger total health pool, but you're more... you have less sustain. So what you want to do... This really helps your sustainability. It helps you keep you on the field longer, as opposed to Keshik's Rage, Cresher's Rage. Whatever. That rage. The damage is good, but the damage coming off of Volley is not the big thing. It's coming off of your blights. It's coming off of your hip fire arrows, and it's coming off of your ultimate when that comes up. So it's a loss to not get the damage, but it's not a significant loss. I feel like Archer's Boon is a much more powerful choice to keep you in the field fighting longer and keep you alive when you're in dueling situations. For our 10, our ultimate pick, we're going to pick Earthrender, and that's because Wild Judgment it's kind of broken right now. So when you throw it out, if you pick Wild Judgment, what that causes is your Wrath of the Wild, it explodes once, and then a little orb pops out 4 more times. But the problem is the orb goes in a random direction, and you have no way of controlling it. And more often than not, it'll go in completely the wrong direction and just be completely useless. So it's just a moot talent. It doesn't really change anything. A mutation. Whereas Earthrender, because we put all these points into our Blight, it's actually really powerful, really effective, and it really makes your ultimate, so when you go off and your enemy isn't finished, they'll normally be backing up or walking towards you. It gives you another Blight that you can play around with that's actually really powerful. It's got the slow, it's got the extended duration, it's got the Cursed Earth. It's great. So to wrap everything together, the way how this build works, at the beginning you're focused on using your skills to push the lane by killing enemy minions with your Blight, with your Volley, and then harassing enemy heroes whenever you get the chance at long range with charge shots, or trying to kill them with your teammates with close range hip fire. Now as you start picking up skills, you're going to notice that your kill potential, your gank potential is going to go up exponentially. And then when you finally get your ultimate, Wrath of the Wild, you're going to be able to destroy people. Now there's 2 ways to do the combo. The quick way is to open up with Blight to slow them down, then at close to medium range, hit them with a Volley, and then once you've hit them with the Volley, hit them with Wrath of the Wild, and then finish them off. Now, the most damaging way to get the full damage combo out is to open up with a charge shot or a Volley, but ideally a charge shot. Then you hit them with the Blight, the Wrath of the Wild. And then you just clean house from there. So thank you for listening. I'm glad I could share this character with you and give you my insight from what I've seen playing her. She's really fun. She's really versatile. She can work in a whole bunch of different ways. The match video that I'm pairing with this guide shows just how effective this build can be at just destroying people, whether it's getting in their face and ganking them, or if they get too close and obliterating them. It was a 4v5 where, despite having one less person, we were able to hold out and ultimately win. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Twinkle Butt out.